for those who might have missed it. Okay, so I'm asking for your approval to go ahead and record this, and it's just for archival purposes. If somebody wants to, review this later, if they missed some critical information during the call live, and I'll do this for every one of our webinars. Yeah, so I've been teaching here a long time in San Francisco, but I've also had a very long and fruitful association with Lappiranta University of Technology. I first went there in 2001, and I've been going there off and on over the years. So it's more than a 20-year association. I'm now designated as what's called a docent or a visiting professor. I was just there in July teaching a summer school class, mostly to exchange students from all over Europe, and a few LUT students from the other master's programs like global management and industrial management and so on. This class is unique because most of you are MIM students, right? So we all share an interest in marketing, and we probably have also some exchange students from other countries who are all welcome. Before I came to San Francisco State, I was a professor at University of Maryland College Park, which is near Washington DC. And before that, I was a doctoral candidate like Luke. I was at the University of California, Berkeley. I got my PhD there. And before that, I was born and raised in Mumbai, India for 27 years. I have a bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering. I have a master's in marketing. And after my master's, I worked in industry, in the personal computer industry in India in the early 1980s, trying to, we launched the first IBM PC in India, and my job was to make cold calls to all the small and medium businesses and get them to convert their information systems from manual systems to computer systems. So I think I have a good background both of practical experience in business as well as academic training, and I'm very excited to share that with all of you. Let me call on Luke now to please introduce himself.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sanjit. Yep. Hi, everyone. My name's Luke Sheaves. As Sanjit said, I'm a doctoral candidate at the moment, finalising my dissertation. I guess my background, and relevant to this course, I'm interested in digital transformation and how that impacts on business strategies, particularly business models and business innovation. And I guess maybe that sounds a bit different to marketing, but particularly so I come actually from the IBE, the International Business and Entrepreneurship actual team, but it has a lot of crossover with marketing, particularly business strategies. And I do a lot of work with people who actually run the MIM program and involved in the MIM program. So yeah, that's my day-to-day in the university. As Sanjit gave a bit of background on himself, I can give a little bit of me. Before doing my doctorate studies, I was a student like yourselves at LUT. I did supply management and sustainability as a side, and with my thesis, I got more involved with the digital side of things. Before that, in my previous life, before moving to Finland, I have a background in government. I used to work for the UK government in their Department for Business and Innovation, which had a lot of dealings with international fronts such as the EU, World Trade Organization, and different sectors and businesses and so forth. So yeah, that's a quick bit of myself. Like yourselves, I'm located in Lappeenranta and I've been here for about 10 years. So yeah, so good luck with this studies. I've been involved in this course for the past 2 years, and it's a really interesting course from my learnings as well, because at the beginning I had to learn about the course, and it has some valuable stuff. And as I said, it has a lot of crossover with different things as well. So it might be a marketing course, but it also has a broader sense, and particularly as I see it, from business strategies. So don't just see it as narrowly as a marketing course. You can also think of how it might be applied more broadly. So yeah, that's me for now. So now you come back to me, I guess, later, and I can talk about my role on the course. So thanks.
Thank you, Luke. So, today is going to be a short meeting. We want to familiarize you with the course syllabus. I think you've already taken a look at it, but maybe you have some questions, and, the logistics are fairly, I should say, complex but precise. And so we'll go over the course syllabus, and yeah, then there's the Moodle part we'll also take you through in case you have any issues with that. In all of this, Luke's role is to look after all the administrative aspects. So he will be your first line of contact if you have any issues, and then if he can't handle them, or if you think that I'm a better person, my role will be mostly with the content, right? I'll be doing the webinars and evaluating all of your homeworks and case presentations and things like that. So I'll be the main facilitator for the course, ably assisted by Luke. So now I'm going to share with you the document on the course syllabus which you might have, and we won't go through this line by line, but we will just take a look at it, and maybe I'll provide a few comments as well. So please bear with me while I share this course. Right, so I hope you can see this document. Just give me a thumbs up. Can you see this document? Yeah, thank you, Simonella. Okay, so the first thing is that, I don't look at my LUT email a lot. So if you want a faster response, then this is the account. The Gmail account is what you should use on a regular basis. Luke's email works just fine. Yeah, and one important difference in this particular autumn's course compared to previous years is that it is a hybrid course. Previous versions up to last autumn, everything was fully online, and that was that was great during COVID, right? Because we had all these issues with the virus. Now that the worst of COVID is largely behind us, the university, LUT, wants students and teachers to come back to campus. Okay, and so that's the reason why this is a hybrid. It's still going to be mostly online, but we have 3 days of classes in November where we will actually meet face to face, and I'll be making the long trip out there just for 3 days, but that's the way the university wants to have it. Okay, so let's talk about the main objectives of the course. The premise of this course is that all of our good marketing theory that we've already learned in previous courses is still valid, okay? But when we are dealing with high uncertainty, then some of the theory needs to be modified. Okay, that's the premise of this course. And that what do we mean by, under what conditions do we need to modify it? It's when our products and services have a high level of uncertainty associated with them. So if you consider consumer packaged goods, shampoo, soap, perfume, these products and services have been with us for almost 100 years, right? So there's very, very little left by way of uncertainty. The scientific and engineering processes that lead to those products are pretty nailed down. The companies know everything about how to make great soap and perfume and things of that sort. But when you're dealing with a different kind of product, then things become much more complex. So I want to give you this example. Maybe you saw in the news last week, there's NASA and the European Space Agency. Together, they've collaborated on a project called Artemis. And the goal of Artemis is to ultimately send a person, some astronauts, to the moon after 1968. Somehow the space program has languished. There have been a lot of other improvements, but the moon as a priority has been relegated to the back burner. Now with Artemis, the goal is to put astronauts back on the moon and really explore it as a possible living environment. So the Artemis project was started in 2012, and the target date for launch was 2017. So here we are, 2022, 5 years later, and it hasn't been launched yet. Last week there were 2 dates given when the rocket was supposed to launch from the US, and they had to push it back due to technical snafus. Okay, so that's one example of a high-tech innovation where the uncertainty is really high. I can take you back to earlier in the year, January of 2022. Again, the same collaborators, NASA, European Space Agency, and the Canadian Space Agency, they successfully launched the James Webb Space Telescope, which is going to be able to, look at the first stars and the first galaxies that were ever created. And the first pictures from that are already available on the NASA website, and they are really fantastic. And that project itself, I have the numbers here. It was the Space Webb, the James Webb telescope. The development started in 1999. It was supposed to be completed in 2007 at a budget of $1 billion, and ultimately it got launched in 2022. 15 years later at a cost of $10 billion. Can you even imagine that number, $10 billion, and 15 years to develop, right? So this is the kind of, radical or breakthrough innovation where traditional marketing theory is somewhat at a loss. You can't just beam the 4 P's of the marketing mix and expect that customers will respond. Customers need to be educated over a long period of time. The technology uncertainty has to be reduced before customers will embrace it. So that's what we're going to look at largely in this course, is what are the new kinds of modifications to traditional marketing theory that will help us to better market these kind of high technology products and innovations. So going to the learning outcomes in the syllabus, there's 5 of them, right? These are really important. At the end of the course, I'm going to come back to you and ask you, have we checked the boxes on each of these? So at the end of the course, are you able to distinguish the special characteristics of the high-tech marketing environment? Are you able to develop and evaluate marketing strategies which are appropriate for these environments? Have you had some practice in making marketing decisions in such environments? Have you been able to solve some real-life high-tech marketing problems? The application of this to situations that you're more familiar with. And these are the major objectives, and we're going to come back to this at the end of the course. Oh, sorry, and then one more, on the next page. This is really important. Develop social and intercultural competence by working in cross-cultural teams. Uh, you have an instructor who was born in India, now lives in the US. You have a doctoral candidate from the UK, right? And we have lots of, I hope, exchange students. So we are going to operate more or less like a global work team over here. And all of the issues that come up in global work teams will probably, manifest at some point, which is great for giving you practice and preparing you for your careers. The course format, today would seem more like a monologue, but really all of my webinars, I would encourage a lot of participation, either through the chat or raising the hand, See, the interesting thing about marketing as a social science is that it's not the same as physical science, right? Newton's laws of motion are invariant in 171 countries across the planet Earth. But marketing theory is social science. That means it works more often than not, but we have to know the boundary conditions under which they work, and then what are the conditions which need to be modified. And so each of our, life experiences is important when we study marketing and the way companies implement their strategies. So I would encourage you during these webinars to share your own thoughts and experiences, and that makes for a more interesting class. Okay, then we have some regular, specifications on the number of hours. The readings, let's talk a little bit about that. There is a textbook that I have written with two co-authors, but I have to admit that it was published quite some time ago. I think the theory is still good, but the examples may be a little dated. The reason why we haven't been able to update the book is that one of our co-authors, Stan Slater, passed away due to multiple sclerosis a few years ago. And it's such a massive undertaking that neither Jackie Moore nor I have been able to do the updation by ourselves. But what I've tried to do is to post videos on YouTube which are much more recent with more contemporary examples, and then the cases that I've selected for you are really very, very recent. And so the theory is something that you need to understand, but more important is probably the application to cases and to problems, so you'll get some experience with that. I've talked a lot, so let me pause here and see if there are any comments in the chat. Any questions you have so far? I'll get back to the syllabus in a few minutes, but let's pause here. I see Altana, you have your hand raised. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, one question. I saw written final exam will be taken when scheduled. So is it going to be online or it's going to be on campus?
Yes, it's a great question. I was going to come to that, but I'm happy to answer it right away. The final exam is online in Zoom, just like this. So you're free to be in any part of the world, but you have to make sure that you have a good bandwidth, right? The exam itself will be an essay type of exam. You'll be given a case to read, right? You won't have seen that case before. So you'll read the case and then you will answer 3 or 4 questions, short essay questions about the case. And, we will proctor the exam. So that's the one session where everybody has to have their camera on, because we want to preserve the integrity of the exam. So we can't have people leave their workstation. So during the course of the exam, you have to stay online with your camera on you so that, either Luke or I, as the proctor, can observe that you're in a quiet place working alone. And of course, if you finish early and you submit, then you can leave. So, Altana, I hope that answers the question. Right. So I see a question from Henny, and the question is about the case seminars in November. So, the way this has been designed is that you're required to be present in La Piranta for those 3 days. Okay, so I think that we would like most of you to be there. Now, if you have some exceptional circumstances, you can always send an email and we will try to accommodate. But I think for your presentation, at least one of the days, you absolutely need to present with your group in person. So that's what I meant by this is not an online course. It's not 100% online course. It's a hybrid course. So you do have to be present in La Piranta to make the case presentation with your group. And again, if you are absolutely not able to do that for some really important reason, then we might try to find a workaround. But I would expect that most of you will be in La Piranta in November for all those 3 days. Let's go to Lorena. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question. We are going to have some group work and some activities that we need to do by groups. Are you going to arrange those groups or we need to do it ourselves?
Very good. So I'm going to now turn it over to Luke to maybe show the Moodle, and then he'll explain to you how the groups are to be formed.
Yep, I can. Actually, I'll explain it quickly now. On Moodle,
I can put it up if
you could share with that'd be great.
No, is this Moodle or is this still the syllabus?
It's still the syllabus at the moment.
Sorry, let me go there. It's yeah, here it is.
Okay, well, your one looks closed. So it has been. Yeah, it has been refreshed, so all the tabs are open now. Just wait as a general with Moodle. All the tabs are opened apart from the exam tabs. Well, the exam info tab is open. Yeah, now you can see all the tabs are open. So I'll go roughly over the Moodle page. You've probably all seen it anyway, but there's a tab for each session. So, and then I think it's on the third row, there's a tab for the intro to the case methods. And then next to that, there's the case team sign up. If we remain on the intro to the case method quickly, Sanjit, stay here, that's fine. That's fine, no, stay here, that's fine. This is where we ask students to sign up to the case studies. There's a tab for each case study. So there's a group tab for sign up for Zoom communications, which is one of the case studies, L'Oreal, another, and finally, Viral Life Sciences. Sanjay will probably go into a bit more, but for each case study, we ask 3 groups to do a case study. And under each group, there's a maximum of 5 members. So, as I said, there's a voting system on Moodle where you click on the case study that you'd like to work on, and then the group number that you want to work with. So we've given it to the students this year to vote or assign themselves to groups. In the past, we've assigned students to groups ourselves, and we've had comments regarding that students would rather do it themselves. So this is the page we ask you to go to sign up to on Moodle. Sanjit probably talk some more about this group setup as we go later on, but we'd like it to be as international as possible, like at least have one exchange student or foreign student studying in Finland to be the group, and then I guess so it's say not all Finnish group. As Sanjit said, it's tried to have the multinational sort of team like we all work in, or most companies working at the moment. But long story short, this is the tab that you will go to sign up to your groups. If you have any issues with that, come straight to me. I'm in Lapimanta like yourself, so I'm on the same. Well, if you're all in Lapimanta, I know some of you aren't at the moment, but the timescales probably aren't that different. I'll try to come back to you as soon as possible. I can't guarantee it be immediately, but I'll at least try within 24 to 48 hours to get back to you on all issues regarding Moodle, but with regards to groups as well. So yeah, that's the tab that you go to sign up on.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah,
and
go ahead.
actually, one final thing: once all the groups has been signed up to, there will be the first page that Sanjit clicked on, the intro to case studies. I will put the finalized groups there so everyone can see who's in which group. So once it's been confirmed who signed up, I will do that.
Thank you, Luke. So, because we have this requirement that at least one member of the team should be non-Finnish, I'm curious if you could, if you're not a Finnish citizen, could you just put your country in the chat, because we want to see how many international students we have here. So take a couple of minutes if you could please put and you might address this to everyone, and we will see where everyone is from. Okay, India, Tunisia, Russia, Turkey, Colombia. Very good. Finland. Well, Finland is are you a Finnish citizen? Then I'm asking only those who are non-Finnish to write, so that we have an idea of how many international students they are for the purpose of forming the teams. Yeah, so look, it looks like that we have at least 9 or 10 of these folks, right? So we can get one person to be in every team.
And, one point with the case studies as well. As I said, all the tabs on Moodle are open at the moment, so you can see, apart from the exam, so you can see which is under each tab. The case studies themselves aren't on Moodle at the moment because we have to purchase licenses for the case studies, and so I needed to find out the final number of students who are on the course before I purchased the licenses. So hopefully towards the end of this week or the beginning of next week, I'll have a great idea on the firm sort of number of students on the course. So if you had the question you can't find the case study at the moment, that's the reason, and they will appear on shortly.
Great. Okay, so any more questions, or I'll go back to the course syllabus just for a bit. Okay, let's go back here. Yeah, so your grading, these are the 4 different things that you have to undertake in order to earn your course credits. There are 3 webinars right now, and for each of those webinars, to prepare for them, you have a homework set in Moodle. So there are 3 homeworks that you have to do, and they are based on your reading and review of the videos. So basically the homeworks will display your understanding of the course concepts and theories. And when I come back to the webinar, which will be a week after your homework is due, then I will clarify and discuss, where were the things not so clearly understood, or where some of the examples may be lacking. The webinars will be just an informal interaction over the readings that you've done for the homework. And then the written case assignment is just one. Each group has to choose one of those 3, either Zoom or L'Oreal or Verily. You have to do a case write-up on that, just one, and then there'll be, I'm sorry, you have to do 2 written case write-ups and 1 in-person case presentation. So that's what it is, that in November there'll be 1 in-case presentation out of those 3 that each team has to do, and then that same team will have to do the other 2 as written assignments, right? So if your group chooses to do the in-class presentation on Zoom, then you will do the Verily and L'Oreal cases as a write-up. Okay, so that's how you will earn those 40 points. And then the final exam will be another 40 points, which I've already explained. And we'll follow the standard grading scale at LUT 1 through 5. I did talk about the materials. There are PowerPoint slides to accompany the chapters of the book. And let's see, I think these should be available in Moodle, right, Luke? Let me check. Have we posted the PowerPoint slides? Luke, do you see if we've posted the PowerPoint slides? Otherwise, I'll do that right after this seminar.
Apologies, I didn't have my mic on. No, you haven't. They
Okay.
haven't been posted onto the Moodle yet.
So apologies for that, but it's good that we got reminded. I'll put the PowerPoints onto Moodle after this meeting, so those can be downloaded. And then there'll be some articles for the 4th webinar in December, which is on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain. So I'll post those as well, if they haven't been already done on Moodle. And then, be mindful of the deadlines. One of the issues in since a lot of this course is online, it's kind of self-motivation and you have to monitor these deadlines yourselves. So be aware of the homework deadlines. The first one is due on the 13th of September. The second is on the 27th of September. Sorry, I need to share this again. So here are the deadlines for the homeworks. The in-person case presentations are all on the 3 days in November, 21st, 22nd and 23rd. The written reports have to be submitted a week before the case presentations are due. So November 14th, November 15th and November 16th. I've already explained the final exam format. And then here is our schedule date-wise, right? So the first homework is based on the first 4 chapters. The second homework is based on chapters 5 through 8. And the third homework is based on chapters 9 through 12. So in other words, this is a very intense course, right? Because we're not meeting every week. So you're assigned these readings and these videos. You look at them on your own. You do the homeworks. And then we do the webinars to go over what you've done and clarify any of the theories and concepts that are of interest to you. So again, while you're reviewing the materials and doing the homework, please make notes of what you want to bring up during the webinar. The Zoom webinars are an opportunity for you to clarify your understanding, right? And even share experiences where, things may be different from the theory. And then it's my job to try to reconcile how the theory needs to be modified, or how to explain the anomalies. Then we go to November, where we have the in-person case presentations, and then we finish off with we have the fourth webinar on 8th of December. These are new topics in high tech which are not covered in the book. So we have some additional readings and a discussion for that. Recent surveys of course feedback show that this particular topic is of great interest to marketeers and to students right now. So I think that will be a good session to attend. And then we have the final exam. So again, let me pause here and take any remaining questions anybody has. There's some additional stuff in the course syllabus, assessment guidelines and the note on introduction to the case method. I'm going to cover that in webinar 3. I'll take you through the mechanics of how to do the case memos and the case presentation. But until the groups are formed, it would be a little premature to do so. You can read it. I think you can read all those yourselves. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. And then there's a rubric or assessment guide of how your memos and presentations will be graded on a 16-point scale. And again, very important is that whatever group you work through for your in-class video presentation, your in-class presentation, you will need to do an assessment of everyone's contributions. That's called the group workload report. So when I evaluate your in-class presentations or even your memos, the default is that everybody gets the same grade to begin with. But if the workload report shows that by consensus somebody's been a leader or somebody's been a free rider, then that individual person's grade may be adjusted upwards or downwards to reflect the consensus or the majority group opinion. So that's very important, the group workload report. Let me go to Altana.
Yes, thank you. I have a question about the first homework.
Yes.
It's written that you either read the chapters 1 to 4 or you watch the videos. So basically it's completely equal. If, for example, I don't read the chapters, I can watch the videos, the same content. Or in addition to the chapters, it's also valuable to see the videos.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think the book chapters have a lot more detail, right? But the video provides, I think, provides a kind of highlights all the the important stuff. And so I would say that it really depends on how much time and interest is available to you. The videos are a minimum requirement. You will not be able to do the homework unless you have reviewed the videos. But if you have more time, then you might want to read. If you are really interested in a career in high-tech marketing, you might want to go to the chapter on a time available basis. Good question. What else can I answer for any of you?
Sunny's got a hand up. So
Who is that? Yeah, Sunny, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to ask about the group choice. Would it be possible to remove oneself from a group, as there isn't a remove my choice tab at the moment?
I can go into. I'll go in and put the option in after the session, and so yep, there is the
Yeah.
option to do that. So I'll do it afterwards.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So, Sunny, just to be clear, you want Luke to remove your name from an existing group?
Yeah, me and my friend had a problem. We are now in 2 groups because the group started to fill up quite quickly. So now we are in 2 groups, and we would like to remove ourselves from the others. So
Yeah, can you please
That's
send
why
an
I asked.
email? Can you please send an email to Luke as to which group you want to be removed from?
yeah, that's fine. Fine if the remove my choice tab isn't possible.
Yeah, I will put the remove your choice tab in, so it is possible.
Yeah.
So you will be able to do it yourselves as well. So yeah, sorry, I hadn't realised that tab hadn't been. I hadn't clicked that tab, so it's a admin side of things. So I will go in and do that for you, so
Yeah,
you can
thank
actually
you.
do it
Thank
yourself.
you.
Okay.
So there's a question from Elizabeth in the chat. Is it a book exam? So as I mentioned earlier, it is a case exam. So you will be given a case just like the 3 cases that you would have done, but it will be a new case and you will just receive it at the time of the exam. So you have to read the case and then I'll give you 4 questions to and 3 or 4 questions to answer, and you have to answer them in essay format. So the exam is not going to directly quiz you on book concepts, but you will definitely be given more credit for bringing in the course theories and the concepts into your answering of the questions on the case. Okay, so it is supposed to be an application oriented exam where you apply the theories and concepts to the questions that have been asked. Good question. And by the way, it's open book, open notes, so there is no stress, right? We want to take away the pressure and we want to ensure integrity. So that's why you can have access to your books and notes as you like. The only thing we want is to ensure that it's being done individually rather than collaboratively. Very good. Please go ahead and ask more questions. So just to go over the action items, I have to post the course materials, the PowerPoint slides onto the Moodle, and then Luke, you're going to put up a tab that can help them to remove themselves from any group, right?
Yeah, I'll do that after the session. Yeah, so give me 10-15 minutes and it'll be done.
So that's the items on our part. Let's give you another chance to ask any questions. Otherwise, we are done with our agenda for today. Our next meeting will be on the 20th of September in Zoom at the same time, right? In between, you have to submit your homeworks by 13th of September. So, any last thoughts, any comments? If not questions, any comments? Anything at all? All right then, you have our email addresses. If any other issues come up, please feel free to contact one of us. Otherwise, I wish you a good evening and I'll see you soon again in Zoom. Good night.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.